Hey, how's it going, everybody? Mike Weber here, your Los Angeles real estate broker, here with your market update for the beginning of December 2022. Well, guys, things are continuing to get a little bit tougher out there in the real estate market. In fact, based on the data that came in on the first of the month here in December, we finally have breached through the threshold, which is prices have fallen below where they were at from a year-over-year standpoint. So if you've been watching my videos, you know prices have been gradually falling from their peak earlier, around March of this year, and they've just been gradually falling and falling and falling, but somehow they managed to stay above where they were comparably to a year ago, and that no longer is the case. So we have seen prices go through that threshold, and we're also seeing kind of a continuation, even an acceleration to some extent in all of the stuff that we've been talking about, which is increases in inventory, a further decline in pending home sales and closed home sales. So overall, it's a much more difficult market to navigate. Lots of properties are not selling, especially if they're not priced aggressively. The buyer activity that we're seeing out there in the marketplace firsthand has definitely declined very substantially. Before where there'd be a lot of showings and a lot of offers. Now, getting a couple showings a week is actually a positive thing in many cases. So a lot of changes in the market. I'm excited to share them with you. Let's go ahead and jump into the data. Before I get started, if I could help you guys or your families with any real estate needs here in the Los Angeles area, reach out to me. I would love to help. All right, guys. So starting in the county of Los Angeles, we see median home prices are down from a year-to-year standpoint at just 1.2%. So obviously it's nothing, extremely scary or anything like that, not a massive crash, but definitely if we compare to the peak that we were at earlier this year, it's certainly a substantial decline. And it looks like at the rate we're going, prices are going to continue to gradually decline as long as interest rates remain where they're at or continue to rise. Of course, we are expecting the Federal Reserve to raise the overnight rate again in December. And if that happens, we should once again see an increase in mortgage rates, which of course should put further pressure on housing prices in the future. Moving on to pending home sales, this is where things are really starting to get ugly. In the county of Los Angeles, we're down 68.1% for pending home sales. A huge drop compared to a year ago. Obviously, if you look at the chart, there's nothing like this that we've seen in, a very, very long time, probably going back all the way to 2007, 2008 when the market crashed. So very little activity out there, very few people going into escrow. In fact, today we had about 200 expireds in the area that I have a search set for on my MLS, which is the greatest number by far that I've seen since I've been in real estate for 8 or 9 years. Closed sales following pending home sales in the county of Los Angeles down about 49%. Obviously, that makes sense. If not a lot is making it into escrow, then we would also expect not much to be closing escrow, and certainly that's what we're seeing here in the data. Lastly, if we look at the supply of inventory in Los Angeles, surprisingly, it's not really elevated that much. We're up 36.8% year over year. So inventory overall still remains pretty flat, probably because a lot of stuff is either falling back off the market as a canceled or expired listing, and also still not a lot of sellers are actually listing properties, which is kind of surprising, given all the circumstances and what's happening in the market. Now, when we zone in a little tighter to the South Bay beach cities, we're seeing kind of a similar situation. Median home prices just down slightly, not even 1% from a year-to-year standpoint, but definitely a significant drop off to where they were around March of this year. But of course, they are negative from a year-over-year standpoint, which is a new thing. And they look like they're set to continue to decline slowly, again, as long as we kind of stay where we're at in terms of interest rates. Now, pending home sales in the South Bay, we're down 64.2% from a year-over-year standpoint. That is an extreme drastic plummet. We're way below where we were during the COVID lockdown. We're way below where we would be in the typical holiday season. So not much activity out there, not much making it into escrow. Sellers have to be priced right. House has to be in good shape, have to be aggressive at getting it sold, very realistic, very reasonable. And buyers are starting to be in a position where they get to have some demands, ask for some credits, get a better deal on properties, so on and so forth. So certainly continuing to move more towards a balanced market or even towards a buyer's market. Closed sales, similar to LA County, down 45% year over year. Again, not much making it to the closing table as a result of the pending home sales dropping so much. And then finally, a really big change. We are up year over year 100% in inventory in the South Bay. Now, that being said, we're at 2.2 months supply. Not that much inventory really when you look at, say, a balanced market, which would probably be 5 or 6 months. But it's kind of irrelevant because the buyer activity has dropped off so substantially that even that 2.2 months supply is really a lot because there's not a lot of people actually buying the stuff that's out there. So if it went up to a 4 or a 5 or a 6 month supply, then of course very, very little of what's getting listed would actually be being sold. But at least right now, inventory is still pretty low, albeit a lot of what is on the market still isn't getting sold. So guys, I hope this information was useful. If you haven't clicked the thumbs up, do that now. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe if you want to get more of these videos. I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you have a wonderful holidays, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care.